I am Kelsye Adams, Program Director at DC Vote, Executive Director, and Presenting Associate for Capital BOP. To my fellow Americans, what is the loudest sound heard from communities of the voiceless located in our nation's at Beryl? The District of Columbia serves as the home for over 750,000 people, yet gun violence strikes down over hundreds of spirits every year. According to the Washington, D.C. Gun Violence Problem Analysis Summary Report, there were 341 homicides that occurred in the D.C. from January 1st to December 31st of 2020, and a total of 522 non-fatal injuries from shootings that occurred from that same time frame. This public health crisis affects lives in each quadrant of our federal city, from South Capitol to Wisconsin Avenue. Despite having the place of the most effective local firearm violence laws, our children and neighborhoods are threatened by weak national violence prevention regulation. To tell you more about my home, as a large, influential town, we are neither a territory or a state. Despite being American citizens who pay the highest federal tax wages on average versus residents of any other state, we lack the ability to pass, ratify, or enforce district-wide municipal law. In no other nation on earth do citizens living in the capital have no voice in the vote. Although having a thriving economy and paying more to the federal government than we receive as people, the District of Columbia exists in a limbo of state legislative apartheid, unparalleled from this hostile regime. As important as this issue of gun reform is, it is important that I stand on the Senate floor while you bear in mind that myself and over 700,000 other residents of my city have no voice in this office, while only 580,000 in Wyoming have two. It's no coincidence that DC will be the largest Black plurality in the country. The values of all Americans, not just some, should be a part of these conversations, especially when they affect these residents. We need equal representation in our nation's Congress. This issue is not political. It is a personal one for me. The parents and the hundreds of thousands of youth living in my home deserve a voice. We can all point to statistics. For the first time ever in 22, the firearm violence prevention team became the leading cause of death for people aged 1 through 19, with no violence prevention entities being instated. To add, suicide, which is the 10th leading cause of death for adults, is largely associated with firearms. Over 20 years ago, the Senate's conservatives and liberals supported assault weapon bans, the Brady Bill, and many accepted the 10-year sunset provision in case the legislation was not strong enough. It's clear that legislation is not strong enough. If the nation's leaders can't be responsible for harmful weapons, corporations, then at least we can be responsible to our vulnerable youth. We must not turn a blind eye to the root of these causes: a lack of proper resources. Our communities, especially the Black and brown ones, are continually underfunded, and as a result is a direct connection to the violence polluting our streets. We need to invest in our communities. We need to provide opportunities that will keep people off the streets and make mental health awareness programs that are freely accessible to underprivileged communities while providing things to do for our youth. As a curator, I understand the need for events and educational but inviting platforms. I strive to peacefully protest and create a space of only vibes and good energy. We need more resources to our schools, community programs, and other community organizations such as mine to help keep guns out of the hands of our children. The solutions are not a secret. Simple measures like universal background checks, cracking down on straw purchasers, and illegal weapon sales, while limiting access to high-capacity magazines and military-style assault weapons, will save countless lives. Gun reform now, DC statehood now.